Yeah, listen, the order is amazing. I want everyone to read the order. It's very short and it's not necessarily full of legalese, but literally it is a read. That judge went off on the government about what it is that they're doing and violating people's constitutional rights while also reminding them of what our founding fathers believed in, and basically said y'all are either dumb or incompetent, but either way, other people should not suffer at the hands of your ignorance. And so I loved it. The opinion was great. It was short, sweet, to the point. But I want people to understand that I don't know that I believe that Liam and his father would be getting out right now, but for that picture of Liam going viral. I want people to know that when I was in there, I didn't just visit with Liam and his father. We visited with hundreds of people who had stories just like that. And frankly, there are a lot of kids that have been in custody and are languishing there as well. And they've been there a lot longer. So what I would encourage people to do is to understand that this fight is not over, that we need to speak up because there's so many other children whose names you don't know that are suffering right now. And we're talking about children as little as 1 month old. It is time for us to come together and denounce what this administration is doing, as they are violating people's due process rights and inflicting cruelty. In fact, in that opinion, the judge said that this is all about quotas for them. It should never be a matter of I'm trying to meet a quota at the expense of a human life. That is not what it looks like to say that you are quote unquote Christian. I know you can't see this, but quote unquote Christian. That's not what it looks like. And in fact, at the end of the opinion, the judge inserted a picture of Liam as they used him as bait to get his dad. And then under it, he had 2 scriptures. This is a judge that not only knows his history of what we are supposed to be about and who the real patriots are in this country, but he also understands that this ain't what Christianity looks like. So read the opinion. It was great. This was a win. But guess what? We got a lot more work to do. And frankly, every single lawyer who thinks that they want to be helping out, they need to be filing the same type of writ of habeas, and they need to follow what was laid out in this order. In fact, when we went to go visit, my very first question was to one of the attorneys that represents the government was about writs of habeas corpus, because they said, well, our hands are kind of tied. And I said, they won't be when there's a judge that orders the release, because y'all are the one that have the corpus or the body that is sitting illegally in your possession.
The people were there for 28 days was the average.
Yes.
But that clearly doesn't sound like what you saw.
No, they said the average length of stay, they gave us like printouts, like we have it, where it says the average length of stay is 28 days. That is not true, at least based on the people that we met, because we didn't meet anybody who had been there for any less than 60 days. I mean, the longest amount of time of any person that I talked to was a family of 5, a mother and her, or maybe 6, a mother and her 5 children. They had been there for 8 months. Most people had been there at least 60 days in this custody, and they were talking about how their bond hearings kept getting put off, and they would bring them to court and then there would be no hearing. It's a lot of funny business going on. In addition to this, I'm gonna give you this tea because this is brand new, don't nobody know this. So we put in to go back to the facility. There are other members of Congress that were planning to join us. Basically, Joaquin was like, listen, we're going back. We're going to check on little Liam again, right? Well, then the detention center hit us back and was like, oh, and by the way, y'all can only bring 1 staffer for all members of Congress. Now, if you'll remember, or maybe most people didn't know, now I had 2 staffers with me, and Joaquin had about 4 staffers with him. And considering the fact that there are language barriers for some of us, it is so important to make sure that we have people that are competent in communicating, because there's no point in me going. I'm not going on a field trip. I'm going to handle business. And so we'll see what happens. But I think part of this is literally them being like, okay, we're off the hook, because maybe they won't come back because Liam won't be here. But I want this country to know that he is one of many. When I say many, I mean there are hundreds of children that are sitting over there right now.